Be advised, mature content ahead. This podcast is brought to you ad-free thanks to the Legion of Demons at patreon.com/NOTLP. If you like what you hear, there's much more at patreon.com/NOTLP. Join the Legion. That's patreon.com/NOTLP. And now the show.
How do you do? Just a word of friendly warning. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine, Kelley.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a Shure.
And
I'm on a Shure mic today. Shure 58. When you need a
his
sturdy,
Schwartz.
My Schwartz.
Schwartz. SM58.
Salute
Sadomasochist 58.
my Schwartz.
Yes.
Amy, salute my Schwartz. We just watched that Nickelodeon documentary together.
It was wonderful.
Have you guys seen it?
It's about Nickelodeon?
Yeah, it's awesome.
No, I haven't.
What's it called? It's called like the Orange Years, I think. Or the Green Years? Orange Years.
Orange Years,
The Orange
baby.
Years, I think. Yeah, it's really good. It was in the Discord, and it's on Hulu.
Did they talk about slime?
Yeah, lots about slime. Did you have a favorite Nickelodeon show, Andy?
No, I don't think.
No?
Today's special.
Today's special.
Well, here's the thing.
Same.
We didn't get cable until I was like maybe 10 years old. And I don't think I was a Nickelodeon kid.
Not Rugrats, not Doug.
Now, see, what's funny
All
is
of that?
Are you
we
afraid of
didn't
the
have-
dark?
No.
We didn't have cable either. And I mean, my parents didn't have cable till after I moved out. But I would have babysitters sometimes who would. So like my exposure to Nickelodeon was through friends. And then also one specific babysitter, I would go over before her kids would wake up and I would get Nickelodeon all to myself. And it was Pinwheel. It was the morning, so I'd get David the Gnome. They might have even showed Belle and Sebastian, which was a terrifically boring show.
Terrifically boring.
Today's special, which was awesome. And then all these kind of weird little interstitial cartoons and stuff. Danger Mouse.
I kind of remember something called Maya the Bee.
That sounds,
Maybe.
I don't know,
Maya
buddy.
the Bee.
yeah, that sounds familiar.
And Duckula, my favorite after today's special, Duckula. Count Duckula.
Even Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, I was thinking.
Yeah, that was Ren and Stimpy.
I thought
Doug.
they were Cartoon Network.
No, Ren and Stimpy was Nickelodeon.
Was it?
Oh,
Yeah. It was part of an era.
I believe you.
SpongeBob and all that. Like it's all like this documentary.
SpongeBob was cartoon. Are you sure? Was SpongeBob on Nickelodeon?
Yeah, Nickelodeon. When you get into this, you're gonna realize. Like I realize, I'm like, it's one of those things where you don't know somebody is building this brand until it's almost 50 years after the fact.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, looking back on it, they have quite the stable of like timeless stuff that parents show their kids still.
That's fantastic. I will check that out. It's Nickelodeon's interesting to me because I kind of came at it like different than like it was almost more special to me because I only got it sometimes.
It's a sometimes food.
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon, that's you can't do that on television, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Dare.
I didn't
Oh my
even.
gosh,
Yeah.
Double Dare.
Oh, that was a fun one. Barf
Double
Burger.
Dare.
Yeah, maybe I had cable earlier than I thought, or maybe they just reran it so often that I thought I had it earlier.
Well, it's
They
real.
did they showed Double Dare. They would show reruns of Double Dare on like Channel 64 sometimes after it aired on
really?
Nickelodeon. Yeah, later.
So I guess it was in syndication. Maybe because they did over 100 episodes.
At a certain point.
Yeah. So
Did they talk about how frustrating Double Dare could be sometimes with the flags?
well, the very first story, I don't want to spoil it, but the very first challenge on Double Dare goes haywire in a really funny way.
Did somebody die?
No, I'm not going to tell you what happens. You have to watch it. It's Hulu.
If somebody died, would he
Somebody
describe it
drowned
as
on
a
the fake vomit
funny
in his
way?
stomach.
Somebody went to pick a nose out of that giant nose, or pick a booger out of that giant nose, and they just got pulled up in there, and they never saw him again.
I thought they got smothered in the stuff that came out the nose.
Yeah. Anyways, it's great. The Orange Years. I think
fine.
that's right. The name of
It's
it.
out there somewhere.
What would you do if I slimed all of you?
There's
Well, I
another.
think-
I'm sorry, Andy.
I do think I do have PTSD from watching Double Dare with the nose one, especially because they could never find the flag because it would always fall out, and they never looked at the stuff.
They
that
never
fell
looked
out.
down, and
Yeah.
you're screaming at your television screen. Oh my
Yeah.
God, look down.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm getting
Especially if
warm
you saw
nostalgia.
it fall. If you saw it fall, you're like, ah!
I was just
That's
gonna
the sound
say,
you made.
besides the Nickelodeon documentary, there's also one about MTV that I can't remember the name of. That's great, but it's so inspirational about that medium of cable television. Like they didn't know what to do with it at first, so they took chances on people that were doing really artistic stuff that wasn't refined yet.
Oh, so it's like cable access almost.
Yeah, it was like a
Or
higher
public access.
Yeah, like the people running it, they had it was like if public access had a quality
budget.
control and a curation. Like if you put a curator who had interesting tastes in charge of public access. So it wasn't that they would just air anything, but they would air things that were so specific and really said something specific artistically that wouldn't get on broadcast TV.
That is, I gotta say, for a long time, I think people thought MTV because it promote like there was a certain set of people who were like MTV killed like rock and roll and like this was an earlier sentiment. I feel like towards the late 80s. But really MTV brought people who you would have heard of and made like all of the alternative
Headbangers
bands.
Ball, man.
Yeah,
Like,
Headbangers Ball is great.
They brought so many things to the mainstream that never would have been and weird things that ended up.
Yeah, I think rap is mainstream because of MTV. I think.
Yeah, so MTV I think did a lot for artists.
There's a lot of interesting backstory on the whole MTV Raps thing as part of this documentary, but also like what you were just saying, Kelley, like there was a time when they needed content so badly that they were getting in as many videos as they could. And a lot of videos were going to air that otherwise, again, you would never be exposed to because the market has refined the most successful music videos. They exist for such a specific reason that now when someone makes a video, they already kind of have a checklist to work from of what they want out of it. Whereas they were figuring it out, and it's really exciting to watch both this Nickelodeon documentary and the MTV documentary and see how it kind of relates to when podcasting started and how people it was that other frontier where you're just like you can do anything you want. Where now podcasts, there are jokes about, because we have fallen into patterns where there's jokes about Casper mattresses and content. It's almost all true. The most successful podcasts are true crime podcasts. No, back when no one knew, podcasts were literally that same frontier where they were like, it could be anything you want. And now it's like podcasts are for, white ladies who want to listen to shows about murder. Is what the mainstream understands.
Rant about red pills and stuff.
Right. So the money is going to go to.
It's all Joe Rogan and My Favorite Murder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's become a replacement for podcasting in general. The big picture of podcasting, like cable TV, I think has become a vehicle to replace true crime on TV, like 48 Hours and Dateline, and AM talk radio. Yes. And with everyone else who's in between, there's no interest in a show like what we do from a big company like Spotify because we talk about art and movies. Nobody gives a fuck. That's why I love it. It's we can still exist in this ecosystem where things like Pinwheel, I don't think would really get any attention now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you could make it, you could put in all the time and resources to make something like Pinwheel, which is a Nickelodeon program. But no, it would be one of those things where whoever's paying for it is going to have to know all the ins and outs, and it just changes everything.
Yes. Agreed.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's
not a living podcast.
And if you can guess from
Freddy
our
had a lot to
conversation,
say.
space operas,
So
I just want to see the switch of when Freddy started doing smoking before the show.
Before I started what?
Smoking before the show.
Oh, I didn't smoke anything.
So anyway, space operas has been our theme for the month of February. Wasn't supposed to last this long. We lost last week's file.
Yeah.
After we recorded it, everybody left. We went about our day. Freddie gets to work and realizes it's crap.
Which is just as well because like I was as intense as I was just about Nickelodeon. I was way more intense in a less pleasant way.
I don't even remember anything.
Yeah, what did we talk about?
I don't know.
I thought it was a pretty standard show.
Nothing matters in the past.
Time
Yeah,
is a flat circle.
All we
That's
have
right,
is
yeah.
now.
We recorded a show like last week, and now World War III has almost started. So
This is like a deja vu, but
Yeah.
with World War III.
what a time warp that we just jumped into.
What
Do you
a shitty
appreciate-
fucking week?
Let's don't
Spaceballs
do this
more
time
now?
warp again.
Yeah.
But
Kelley,
it's
that was
sort
really
of like
good.
Freddie was talking about all this 80s stuff, and it feels like we're back in the 80s again.
So
Yeah.
I've been participating in the music league with some of these dudes, most of these
Yeah.
dudes, and some of our friends on the Discord are the patrons. And our theme this week was songs about weather, and I was like, "Wind of Change has to. You
Yeah.
got to talk."
Yeah,
And
Scorpions.
we played it and listened to it the other night, and I swear to God, I got choked up. You want to say that song is corny? Sure, yes, it is, but it is beautiful.
It represents a time in our lives when you grew
It
up.
was, it was a corny time back then.
Well, the reason it was a corny time is because it was hard to be, ironically hard to be cynical in a world where the threat of nuclear war was always hanging over us as kids.
It was
Yeah.
a sincere time, though.
It was a more sincere, there was a sincerity in the power of positivity that doesn't exist anymore. And I think songs like We Are the World and Winds of Change they won't be written by future composers. It was very specifically 80s.
They're still getting written, but they will never be appreciated as,
Right.
as a non-joke
I think it would be
by
ironic or something.
our culture. No.
Right. It has
Or like,
passed into
remember-
irony. Yeah.
Right Here, Right Now by Jesus Jones.
I love that song.
Right here, right now.
He was right. He was like, this is the only
He
place
was
I want
right
to be.
here, right now.
Well,
It's a great song, though.
we need
Amy.
the CIA to write another song for this time.
I love that theory. That what podcast was it that outlined?
I think it was just called Wind of Change.
The podcast was,
I think.
and it's all about how it was a psyop operation.
About the possibility that the song was written as a CIA psyop.
Isn't that crazy? Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was their intention for the song?
It was about
To destabilize, like to get it into these.
Oh, to get
Soviet
it to like
countries.
Soviets
to bring down that wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
Yeah.
because they loved like American culture.
So really, we can say the
eventually-
Scorpions are responsible for the reunification of
Germany.
They were the
Germany.
soundtrack of the reunification of Germany.
And that's kind of a heavy fucking thing. if you think
That's kind of
about
like,
it.
if that is like, honestly, if you think about these important songs that happen at these historical points, like our Star Spangled Banner or America's Beautiful. Yeah. It's a beautiful song.
To the winds of change.
Some beautiful whistling.
Yeah, there's good whistling. It's top shelf whistling. You ever heard the story about one of the guys from the Scorpions being at like a celebrity
Being a real
shindig?
scorpion?
He was a real scorpion. How, no, and he said, "You knew I was a scorpion when you let me play the venue." And I was like, "Yeah, joke's on me." He was supposed to be at a party where they showed a real snuff film, like on a reel to reel or something. Like I don't know if this is an urban legend. Like him saying this even might be an urban legend, but like it was supposed to be. He's like at this party and there's all these really powerful men there and they're watching someone be murdered on tape. I always thought that was real weird. That kind of feeds into the whole engineered by the CIA thing too. This image of the Scorpions as like dark agents is real fucked up.
I prefer the more pure, wholesome.
I do too.
Some
I like the
artists.
rock you like a hurricane.
You want to get
Squidward.
rocked like a hurricane. You don't want to be snuffed like someone else.
Snuff like
So, like-
someone else.
So is there be like this inspirational song from, I don't know, what's a current artist that the CIA has a hand in?
Taylor Swift.
You think it'll be Lady Gaga?
Machine Gun Kelly. That's a current artist, right?
No.
I'm hip to the kids.
I had to
would
Google
love-
who that was.
Wouldn't it be great? The Lady Gaga like unification song, like about,
She could do it probably.
and it would be quirky and weird.
It sounded like you said little old Lady Gaga.
little old lady Gaga. I mean, last night.
That's her next era.
Honestly,
No old lady.
Lady Gaga is too polarizing for reasons.
Little old Lady Gaga
So-
got mutilated
It has
last
to
night.
be very.
It has to be Dolly Parton.
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Oh, is that polarizing for the Soviets? I mean, the Russians, and then she too.
She's too American.
Yeah.
She's too Western.
But she's the song she
She's
creates
country and Western.
will be played over the border into Russia,
what
and
we
they'll
need?
hear it.
She'll use the balalaika in the instrumentation.
I feel like it'd be a DJ or something.
It will
It'll be
undo
Hypnotoad.
the
It'll be
brainwashing,
DJ Dolly Parton.
and they'll be like, "Holy shit! All this time, Putin is just Jolene. Get him!"
He's just Jolene trying to take our man, and our man is Ukraine.
I don't know, Freddie. I'm working on it. I'm working
Yeah.
on the metaphor.
Why'd you come in here looking like that with no shirt on or riding horseback?
I couldn't conceive of me living through something like this in my fucking life.
Could you conceive of living through a pandemic?
Could I conceive of living through half the shit?
Could you conceive of living through Trump?
Remember when you saw The Pest?
It's like-
I thought that was the pinnacle of the worst.
I couldn't conceive sitting through that movie, but I've done it twice now.
And
It's like the world was
and
like, you guys.
Dustin's watched it enough where he knows the rap.
He knows the rap.
Ugh.
So you think that was the beginning of the end for you, Amy, the past?
I think that's when it all ended. But like,
That's when the world broke.
it never occurred to me that he would be this fucking crazy. But here we are.
Yeah.
It occurred to me. I just didn't think about it. I mean, I didn't think about it. I feel, if you had said, "Do you think Putin is completely fucking insane?" I'd been like, "Oh yeah."
Well, also
But,
the
like, it
powerlessness. Yeah.
But it never occurred to me like someone like that has like all of the nuclear weapons.
Well,
That didn't occur to me till I was like, "Oh shit, he might just get mad at the
He's
world." and be
he's
like,
not
well, fuck us.
insane though. That's a mis.
You
I
don't
think
think?
that's a mistake to think that he is calculated.
See, I think that's what they want you. I always thought he was too calculated to fuck up this bad or be this crazy. But I think what we are finding out right now, like that the calculation led to madness.
No, the calculation led to he doesn't see invading Ukraine as a real risk to Russia. He realizes he can invade Ukraine and then regroup once he's there, and he can take over Russia as long as he doesn't pass through the border into any of the adjoining nation states. And I think like he can.
I think you are
he can
behind
have
on the
Ukraine.
news right now.
no.
What do you mean?
I think he's freaking out.
Yeah, he's freaking out.
And
He's going
his
crazy.
allies aren't allies, and more things are happening than I think he expected.
It's backfired on him. Ukraine is fighting back really hard. And
Yeah, I
they're
know.
like they're fucking with his army, and he's like panicking.
But
Like,
the
and no
Russian
one-
public, they say that a lot of that news is not making it to, like, they're changing it in their state-run media. They're showing that there are no Russian casualties.
Why
When
believe that?
in reality, that's not true. Like they're, at least the last I read about it,
We
he was
don't know
portraying it as if the Russian citizenry, what they're hearing from their state-run media.
Well, yeah, but there's also thousands of them protesting.
right, but he knows.
Right.
So he's crazy.
Yeah.
Right, but like the information that we're getting, how much of what we're hearing is
You can't
also
play that
propaganda.
game. You can't play that game.
You
If
gotta be
the vast
careful.
majority
Yeah,
of the world is saying this is what's happening,
then
that's what's happening.
But
you got to pick one truth, honey. You got to pick a lane.
no, I'm asking you what you're saying exactly. Like, is it that Putin is a rational leader or not?
I think it has
I
the
think he- I
rhetoric
think
has
he
always
used-
been
he used to
rational.
be.
and calculated and greedy, but
And
calculated.
what is he doing that sounds insane right now? Because
This
that's
whole
really
act.
scary. Which part of the act?
Well, he's
always been that way. He's always been.
He put his
an act.
the nuclear forces are on alert now. Hit the Russian.
Their nuclear forces are on alert.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because we are armed with nuclear weapons and we're involved.
Things he has said that we will face consequences that we have never known.
That he has always made big threats. Like he that guy, I agree. I mean, like, but the point of the matter is, like,
there are people smarter than me that I have read that have analyzed the situation and are saying there are things that don't make sense here.
Well, I think I think that's a big deal because like ours are not, like the rest of the world is not like armed yet. Like that's like really jumping the nuke gun to like, that's basically him saying, all right, we're ready to blow.
No, he has no interest in launching a nuclear bomb.
That's what I'm saying.
He wants Ukraine. He'll eventually probably want Poland. He will want things outside of Ukraine's border. But if they don't break this war situation up into manageable pieces, like, that's the scary part to me, is that, like, what's the plan once it's a foregone conclusion to me that he's going to push his way into Ukraine, right?
He's doing it. It's happening.
Right. So they're saying
what you're saying.
He's currently not saying he's interested in moving into Poland. That was the last I heard. Right.
I don't know.
He now is he admitting that he's going to continue to push west or no?
No, all I've heard was Ukraine.
That's what I'm saying. Hold up. Everything else is imaginary at this point. The only thing that we know is happening is he is pushed into Ukraine.
Are you trying to alleviate your own anxieties or mine?
I don't want to think about a nuclear
country. He's essentially trying to take over any other country is a big deal, and then
that is part of the EU/NATO.
Right,
and then him potentially backfiring on a leader who has potentially gone insane, who might say, well, fuck everybody then if I can't have this. I mean, that's, I think, the worry.
I think, like, when you have somebody who is that's the lead up to how you justify an assassination.
I think we've already
of a political leader.
That.
Well, no, what I mean is I
justified that in my own head a long time ago.
I'm not talking about just, doing it. I'm talking about historically. This is the talk that leads up to an assassination. They start when a country wants to assassinate another country's leader, they start to paint the other leader as not rational anymore. And that gives them the excuse to assassinate them. So I'm just saying, like, to me, I understand like, just from when I studied history in school, I just think back on all those things, and it seems really obvious that that's what's happening is they're trying to justify assassinating him. Assassinating
but
him.
But I also don't think I agree with the reasons. It's not real. Like, yeah, but just because you're paranoid doesn't mean
no, I agree with you. He's dangerous. I agree that he should be. I'm just talking about law, like war law. You know what I'm talking about? Like the Geneva Convention, like all those things that we all kind of agreed on as a globe to say when we go to war, we will do this and not that. Yeah. Like, my concern is, I think, and that might be the only way out of it, but I don't know shit.
Why are we even getting this deep into this?
I was just kind of
lightly saying I'm scared to death.
Yeah, I have to unpack that shit. I can't just be scared. I have to talk through it. It's too much for me.
I think you just made every listener more anxious.
I'm sorry if I made you anxious. What I'm saying is,
I feel it's like above our pay grade.
Right.
Extremely.
I'm trying to just express the sense of helplessness.
The same pay universe. Well, that's what I think we're all feeling it. Right. So yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah, but you were like freaking me out.
I don't want to tread in those waters because I feel like our job is to give some people a sense of normalcy and
give
just
them
entertain
peace.
them.
But also it helps to process through this. I mean, part of this show is processing the traumas that we're going through in the real world. I mean, that's the whole point of watching horror movies, isn't it?
Is this also Freddy processing the trauma of having to clean up my vomit yesterday?
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
Do you think this is a little bit of that?
Yeah, that was like World War III in your bathroom.
Yeah, it happened.
Was your vomit Russia?
It was coming out from both fronts.
Oh,
there were two fronts to that war.
Yeah.
That's how you lose.
It's a war of attrition.
Listener, I had one of those fun little stomach bugs breezes through your life, makes it hell for 24 hours, and then leaves.
Did you underestimate your enemy, Amy?
I did the first time, both times. I was like, I could manage not to puke right now. Oh, nope, can't. It's coming out. At velocities heretofore
It was
unseen.
bad. She was gray.
I peed myself while I was vomiting. Come on. If you're violently vomiting and you have to pee, tell me you haven't done it.
That's never happened to me.
No, I've
shit myself,
Yeah,
I
me
shit
too.
and vomit at the same time.
but I've never
I've done
pissed
that.
myself. That's
Throw
a
up in the
level.
tub while you're shitting on the toilet.
I've done that.
Yeah, that's
You
the
think
worst.
that's bad? Are you trying to Family Guy me right now?
Thankfully,
It's
I've never
Oregon
done the tub
Trail
thing.
bad.
I always have a garbage can. Usually, I think close
Well,
enough.
like I remember the little trash can next to our toilet is is one of those mesh ones.
Oh, no.
I had a feeling you were going there with this.
And the time I shat and vomited at the same time.
Yeah.
You always put like a grocery bag in for a lining, but I didn't realize that nobody had switched it out yet.
So you had like a giant coffee filter making the world's
it
worst
was,
coffee in your lap.
Instinctually, you just grab the can next to you so you can vomit, and just it filtered through the mesh and just it strained it.
Were you able to reuse?
It caught the chunks at least.
Waste not, want not.
Everything else ended up on my lap, and I just spread my legs and let it drip down to the toilet.
It got sexy all of a
God.
sudden, didn't it?
Jesus.
I did ruin Freddie's toothbrush. It had to be thrown away.
Yeah, that was. I'm glad you
come
told.
on,
She
just-
was like telling me after. She's like, I could have not told you.
I could have cleaned it.
That's
Just
some
bleach
psychotic
it,
shit.
yeah.
I thought about it. I'm like, should I just clean it?
You know,
Nah.
what? You saying that you could have not cleaned it made me think of So I Married an Axe
I
Murderer,
said I could have cleaned it.
where she was talking about, when you're asleep, I could just run a needle right into your ear and into your brain.
But you guys are married. It's okay, right?
Yeah, it's okay that she
vomit on
can
his
puke on my stuff.
Toothbrush, clean it, leave it there.
Doesn't
No.
that happen when you take vows? Sickness and health.
Yeah, but we're gonna.
I thought
we got
about
him a
that a
new
lot.
toothbrush,
Yeah, the past 2 days.
so it's fine.
I did.
Anyway.
I took care of you though, didn't I?
That's what, so
I don't mean shit.
So you know what? Would we have been so safe in a pre-pandemic world? But I told the boys, don't come here today. Zoom in because I don't have time to disinfect this house.
No, you didn't have to tell me.
Would I have done that in a past time? Who knows?
Yeah,
So how
before
long-
you would have recorded while vomiting.
Onto your laps.
How long does the icky pukey virus last outside of the body?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
probably
okay
gonna
so
get it.
far. I'm gonna knock on wood. Kelly's yawning. It's time to move on.
Okay.
We can't abide that shit.
Hello, boys and girls. It's time for Straight-to-Video Russian Roulette.
This is where I would bury Stalin and murder her, if I did it. Now all I have to do is roll her into the grave, cover it up, and make sure I take everything with me.
Yeah, I sort of wish there was that strong female lead. Some center.
Someone likable.
I just can't sit back and wait for permission from some guy to make a movie. You know, nobody wants you to make a movie as much as you want to make one yourself. Just make it happen. I would walk people through how I would commit the perfect murder.
You my scary girl?
I'm scouting locations for the next scene of the film. Ground floor apartment, perfect. I'll come back later when it's time to complete the next step, breaking and entering when the occupant is home. Lean in, baby.
Murder is probably not realistically depicted on television, so I would do some Googling first.
All the best serial killers are unpredictable. They look at the criminal profile they're forming, and they strike outside of it. I could unwittingly reveal too much about myself psychologically by my choice of targets. It's pretty clever, right?
There's no movie that is worth hurting someone for.
There are just real benefits to killing a bad person. If you get a good movie out of it, that's an additional advantage. I'm so good at murdering, it just sucks that I can't get the credit for it. You're not gonna stop me. You can't anticipate me. You can't predict me. I'm living my best life.
So yes, hello.
Hi.
I watched this 2 weeks ago, so let's see how I do. Well, actually, no, a week ago. I Blame Society. Fozzie recommended this, and I'm glad he did because it was a pretty good movie, so it's a recommend.
Yeah.
I believe it's on Shudder. It's about a young lady who's clearly in the movie industry.
Yeah.
And
Trying to be,
and kind of getting rejected left and right. Getting annoyed with the, we're here for diverse voices and we want more women involved, but then not ever getting a job or it being reduced to a, what's the word I'm looking for? Reduced to just being a female token.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, what's funny? Once a friend told me that I would be a good serial killer. So I'm going to make a documentary about what it would take to be a good serial killer. And, well, wouldn't you know it? She's pretty good at actually serial killing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Is there a point where she crosses? Or you're not going to spoil this, are you? This is a recommend.
It's a recommend. I won't spoil. I'm not spoiling by saying she becomes an actual killer. I'm pretty sure that's in the trailer.
Well, what I was going to ask was like, is there like a very clear point where she goes from like, I'm not going to actually kill someone to deciding to kill someone, and then it kind of changing from that point onward? Or did she always intend to start killing?
I don't know what
if
my answer would be considered a spoiler.
All right, well then don't get
this
one.
bitch is nuts. I'll tell you that much.
Amy, that's not very sensitive.
And like this woman, she wrote and directed this. Like she's real good at being crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel comfortable in her presence.
Well, it's like watching this movie, like the trailer, and you're just hearing you describe it. It seems like after like meeting, we're somewhat industry. We've met people in the industry.
I have been known to meet a person in the industry. Yes.
And I can honestly see some people going this far because just hearing some people talk and how bitter they are, and how some are angry they are, how they haven't made it yet, and they feel somewhat entitled. I can see this happening actually.
LA seems like a hellscape. Like I have no interest. Like I like to go visit to see certain things, but to live there would suck the soul right out of my body.
I mean, if you worked in, is it the entertainment industry that you're thinking of, or is it the actual city?
It's the way that industry has permeated the whole city. It's just
I feel like it's probably not a super. Like, I don't know that I'd want to live. I'm not saying that there are a lot of people who love it and who love the energy and who love the feel. And there's a lot of good art that comes out of there, but I don't think it's for me.
No, it's not for
me.
It's
getting better. I think it's becoming more like the rest of the country now. Like they're formalizing like HR departments more. It looks more like corporate America.
It's just the grasping desperateness in the air. The show and like the show of it.
Yeah, well, like LA has this energy to me that's kind of depressing.
See, I got the opposite. I love Hollywood.
It's like I like the idea of it, but there's this weird energy there.
I think that's projection. I think part of it is projection. Like because I did that too. Before we went there for the first time, I had a very cynical view of it as a town, and then when I stepped back and I realized that it's like how we have Procter and Gamble is kind of the one of the industries that props up this area in the country,
and the fucking brewers
and
craft brewing.
Well, yeah, not to dilute the point, but like when you're dealing with LA, the thing that props the city up is that same. It's an industry. It just happens to be one that was once not an industry but an art form, and then art isn't supposed to have societal constraints on it.
No, it's not about art. That's what I'm talking about.
What I mean is people get abused.
The feeling in the air of I'm coming here to make my stardom,
right,
and I will do anything.
Well, that's a byproduct of it.
But I think that's what she's reacting to, is it still feels like there's very much you got to do whatever you have to do to make something happen here. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And if you're not willing to do whatever you have to do, then you can get the fuck out, or you should get the fuck out.
That attitude applies to all industry, though. Like, I mean, like, it's people
Why are you arguing this point?
It's an interesting topic. I'm not arguing. We're having a conversation. Isn't it interesting to think?
It's a weird point to argue. I'm not allowed to not like LA.
You're allowed to not like LA. I never said that. I'm telling you why I disagree with you.
I hate you so much.
I disagree with both of you about this because I think that the industry itself is too young to have enough interest in making sure the people who work in it are healthy. And because a lot of men in the 20s and 30s, this is just how I've learned to kind of accept that it's still a work in progress, not an explanation or an excuse for anything. But I think in the 30s, and you had all these studio heads and they could get their dick sucked for a role. And that became a metaphor for whoever had the power, and it was more about what you had to give and not how you were talented. It wasn't great artists going out to LA to make their art. It was people who wanted to be rich and famous, and they knew they could suck a dick and get a role, or whatever it was. It could be something else. People committed murder to get movie roles. It's notoriously in The Godfather, the sort of things that would go down an offer he couldn't refuse.
You can't be intense about everything on this show today.
I know, but it's wrapped up in such
You're not allowed.
The problem. The problem is we devalue people based upon that they're from LA and they are the LA liberal. I'm not saying you're doing that. You don't have to be defensive on this point. I'm just saying that's why it bleeds into our perception of the city itself, when really it's just a town like any other town. People live there. There are people working at regular day jobs. It's just the entertainment industry has made it a nasty place because it was a give and take kind of thing for about 100 years almost, where it was all about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And it's not about taking care of each other. There's nothing about society there. That's what it was. And now it's becoming part of the world again.
So anyway, I blame society.
Yeah. I never said I wasn't a hypocrite, because I get defensive when people refer to like Ohio as like flyover country and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right.
But like, I just have an opinion on the city.
No, that's good. It's a feeling.
No, it's just a nice place to visit. It's just sometimes food for me.
Yeah.
It's not like an everyday thing. I couldn't live there.
Well, this is how I feel about, but when I've never been to Los Angeles. I've never been to California. So I'm not basing, I'm not saying I wouldn't go, but I do feel like I have seen enough people who work in the industry, and I feel like there is enough art created, enough commercial art, because everything that comes out of Hollywood, every single thing is commercial. And I've seen enough commercial art that's come through to talk about how destructive the industry is, not just to itself, but to the city, and how it bleeds into the communities and it bleeds into the regular people. Like the barbers are still cutting the hair of people who work with the people who work. And it feels to me like very much a trickle down of a lot of the worst. I mean, I think it's the best and worst things about the film industry that trickle out into the rest of the community. And I think that most people are touched by it, especially the closer to the actual Hollywood proper area that you get. And of course out in the hills too. I just think that it's a pretty dark place, at least right now. And I'm not saying that it's not a work in progress, right, and that eventually that will filter out. But I feel like much like it is not a place I would want to live. And I actually cannot imagine too much to interest me out there, that I really feel like I need to experience.
Yeah, I agree. You really articulated that really well. That's kind of where I'm at too, Kelley. It's like I couldn't live there because I'm used to the comforts of knowing that my company cares for me. As corny as that sounds, my day job, I feel satisfied at my day job that human beings are looking out for me. I can't say that's true of anyone I know who works in the entertainment industry, that the structure that supports the commercial entertainment industry doesn't support the individual in any way. It is no care whatsoever. That's an attitude. You're either art or commercial, right? If you're commercial, you have to support the needs of the individual on the lowest rung of the fucking ladder, because they're the ones who support the structure of your entire town and allow you to make movies. So you know what? Maybe you clean up some of your homeless problem since all the richest people live out there. It just gets me so mad. I get so fucking pissed of what that city could be, and that's where our dreams are being made, right? That we're supposed to aspire to.
You are really, really, there's something going on.
I'm working on music and it opens me up.
They probably should never have built a city there to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, they had to pump water in there just to make it livable.
If you can't if you don't have water, you shouldn't live there.
Have you seen Chinatown? It's about that. It's not a non sequitur.
I know. It's just.
I'm sorry I opened this can of worms. It was just an innocuous comment about.
Oh, but Andy, it runs deep, man. Well, I'm someone who grew up wanting to go out there and thinking it was this magical land of Oz.
And that's part of why it's like the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It just permeates the city to me.
Yeah.
That everywhere I look, I assume that they came out here to be a star, and it didn't work out for them.
But you're not wrong. A lot of them did.
Yeah, that's a very short-sighted and cynical way of looking at things. But I'm just a yokel from Cincinnati that gets my idea of Hollywood from the entertainment they churn out. But I also said, because we've met a lot of people that try to make it, and I see how bitter and angry they are.
But also there are ones who continue to work for next to nothing, and they made a career of working out there, and they're the ones who make it a better place. I mean, those guys who you see, like Danny Trejo is a great example of this.
This needs to be the last point here.
He works constantly. He's not an artist, although he's on the spectrum. He's more on the spectrum on the side of that commercial stuff than the art stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I can't judge anybody who went out there with an open heart and chased their dream and came home and gave up. That's totally legitimate, right? I know people who did it. I know somebody who was a successful screenwriter who was out there doing rewrites on movies for years, and he realized he wanted to get married and settle down in a different part of the country, and he's very happy. The thing that drives me nuts is the guys who stick in there, we don't give them any credit for making it a somewhat stable economy, like Danny Trejo, who's always working, and like, because he's always working, his crew's always working, and he brings people along with him from job to job. Sometimes it's just like networking in any other business. And I think that, like, that cynical view of it is something that it is so toxic to the enjoyment of the art itself that I have to step outside of the whole thing, process it, so I don't end up with Mr. Popper Penguin's South Park shit in my life where everything looks like shit. You know what I mean? Like, if you've seen that episode where he goes to see Mr. Popper's Penguin and it's all shit.
All right,
like,
Freddy needs
it'll
therapist,
permeate your
y'all.
entertainment. No, I'm expressing myself.
I know.
This is what a therapist would ask me to do.
But you can't do it forever.
I can do it forever until these guys hang up on me.
All right. We did not sign up to help you process your feelings today.
That's true.
I mean,
That
I
is
did
true.
as
That's
your
a fair
wife,
point.
but these guys didn't.
Guys, I need you to help me through this crisis.
Anyway.
Listen, I blame society.
Right.
So
I also blame society.
Oh, that's a nice bow you put on this.
Thank you.
Kelley, you wrapped it up.
When we did this last week and lost it, Andy lost for roulette, so you continue to lose.
We have a new way of choosing the winner/loser.
Yeah, we do.
You'll hear
you
it
didn't even
next
know
time.
that. You had no fucking idea, did you? Because this episode didn't exist.
It's an internet wheel, right?
You'll find out next episode when we
It's a wheel of wonder.
So,
Ooh, I'm gonna get them intrigued for the next episode
Because you wonder,
what
if it's going to be you.
wonderful. The movie is My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. Two
you better tell it.
mysterious siblings find themselves at odds over care for their frail and sickly younger brother.
Not to prejudge a movie, but I kind of rolled my eyes at the title.
It's a pretentious title, but we'll see. It's fine. We'll see.
Is it going to be what Kelley calls it, B24?
That's what it sounds like.
It sure does sound like
23.
it. My butt can't fart unless you make it by stomping on my belly. I'm a trauma picture.
But just think about that, because it actually turns out to be really insightful, but no one realizes it.
It was super deep, but it went over our heads.
But there was all this diarrhea in it too. So like,
Can diarrhea exist in like elevated art?
I would go down a weird, like, I would also go down like a weird rabbit hole with that movie where I would be like, is the diarrhea commentary or a metaphor? Is it just diarrhea? And is the fact that I'm seeing it as a metaphor the problem?
I think Freddy needs a nap.
I'm going to eat some fish.
No, you're not.
What are we getting?
It's brain food.
Freddie knows I just puked and shit my guts out.
And I tried to give her Long Johns. It was partly a joke.
And he's like, let's order Long Johns for lunch. Fuck no.
Yeah. Okay, chili it is.
Popsicle is what you need.
Get takeout. You don't order Long Johns from DoorDash. You have to go pick that up.
What if we get just a bunch of ribs, Andy?
By the time you get it, it'll be all soggy.
Indian food?
Anyway, can we please go on?
I guess we can. We already know who's watching this, right?
Yeah, we're done here.
All right. Are we done here?
I think we're done.
Once upon a time warp, deep in outer space, there lived the most sinister villain in the universe, Dark Helmet.
I can't breathe in this thing!
Spaceballs.
They must have hyperjets on that thing. And what do we got on this thing? A Cuisinart?
Starring Mel Brooks
It's for you.
as President Scrooge.
Who is it?
Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa.
Daughter of Roland, king of the Druids.
Funny, she doesn't look Druish. John Candy as Bart.
Whoa! Give me paw!
Bill Pullman as Lone Star.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
Mel Brooks as the magnificent yogurt.
Don't make a fuss. I'm just plain yogurt.
Rick Moranis as Dark Helmet.
Why don't we take a 5-minute break?
Spaceballs, the movie.
Smoke if you got 'em.
And may the Schwartz be with you!
And with you. Amen.
Yeah. Spaceballs.
This was Trevor's pick. If you want to help us pick a main attraction every month, be on the mailing list. Go to notlp.com. Thank you, Trevor. We had a great discussion about this last week.
We did.
And we'll see you next week.
That was that level of intense that I was during the roulette.
Yeah.
But it was making the same point, so it's me.
Oh, Spaceballs. You know what's funny? I'll start.
Yes.
I feel like I was much more glowing about it in the alternate universe discussion we had. I do still like it really is a very much a nostalgia thing for me. I think there's a lot of it's not
Blazing
even
Saddles.
It's not Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
It's for sure not.
It's a political
Saddles.
cartoon of a movie.
Naked Gun.
No, Kelley, like Freddy's anxiety has gotten to me now because when you said that, it's like it made me think, did me and Amy bring you down?
No, you didn't. I just had more time.
Did we change your opinion of the movie?
I have more time to sit and think about it, and I like because in the moment, because watching it last week in the alternate universe, you know, it was still fresh in my brain, and I did laugh, but
just last week, like. It just seemed like you loved this movie.
Yeah. Well, it's just like I've had time to think about rewatching the trailer, like, and this is my example, like where I'm like, oh, you know what? I do I like Spaceballs, but there's a reason why I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Genuinely, whereas I've watched.
It shows you how powerful nostalgia can be.
It is. Yeah. It is very powerful because like. Just that line of John Candy, funny she doesn't look Druish. Like it's such a like, and I get it. I feel like that moment now kind of sums up to me like how sort of lazy the whole thing was. Where like Mel Brooks is like, just that's such a like obvious like just we're gonna like really just pan the camera on you. There's gonna be this whole cube of time around you to look directly into the camera and with barely any energy deliver this very easy lazily written line and we're just going to like let it hang there because people obviously should know they have to laugh.
What do you feel like that is kind of the Borscht Belt delivery? Like it's the old vaudeville delivery. And that he came from, plus the criticism of these soulless big movies, you know. I love that.
I feel like that it is borschte. I don't feel like it is as deliberate a criticism as we would like to make it out. I think it's more just a product of this is a movie that was made in the 80s by someone whose era, you know, before filmmaking was sort of Borscht Belty comedy.
Yeah.
I think that was just Mel Brooks being old Mel Brooks, sort of like when Paul McCartney just pulls a fucking Paul McCartney song out of his ass from 1968.
But I think Mel Brooks is so much like he sees the industry as this mom and pop lemonade stand, and that the only thing that matters is that, you know,
here we go again.
I know, but it's built into who he is as a filmmaker, Andy. I can't talk about Mel Brooks without talking about the fact that his whole shtick is Hollywood's a business. That's the shtick.
This is like Amy said last week. Like I think it wraps up the criticism of what I have this movie perfectly. That he doesn't have a connection to like sci-fi films the way he does with westerns and old horror movies like Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles. Like it was very surface level jokes in this movie.
It is, and I will say this: like even no matter what you want to ascribe, if it is a deliberate skewering or comment on what he had seen in the industry, it doesn't work. It doesn't get. I don't have the immediate understanding that, oh, that's a play on this and I'm supposed to get this out of it.
Yeah.
Get like, I don't know. Like my immediate response is that's a really poorly delivered line. And it's really a very poorly written line. And that could have been a better joke, or it didn't have to happen at all.
Well, we've seen John Candy, for instance, in other movies, right? You've seen him in Planes, Trains, and Automobile, like deep human character, right? And you're like, wow, that guy's got range and depth, and he's funny too. He can deliver the whole package.
Sexy as hell.
So it is clearly the script that is the problem with Spaceballs. But not to get so meta on this, but like think about the original Star Wars: A New Hope that this whole thing sprang out of. It was the first, you know, besides Jaws, one of the first blockbuster movies where it was this huge cash injection into Hollywood, right? They'd never seen anything like it before. Mel Brooks is commenting on, okay, now we've got all the money in the world. Does it even matter what I'm making? So like in a way, he kind of shoots himself in the foot on purpose. Like he deliberately makes Dark Helmet look stupid. Like, and like he could have made a really great, it wasn't that he wasn't capable of making a sincere tribute. It's cynical. And that's why it's not as good as his other stuff.
Yeah, but you still have to put care into something.
But how much care can you put into parroting Star Wars is my question. Should it have ever even been a thing? If you're not going to make fresh characters that you get to experience that world through when it's really just a cartoon of the world itself. Whereas when you watch Blazing Saddles, Cleavon Little, the sheriff, has an arc, and you're actually
he's
with
a character.
him.
No, I'll agree with that. He's he's not a parody of a specific character.
Yeah,
right.
But those movies didn't look cheap to me. This movie looked cheap, and like Kelley said, like no matter what you're skewering, no matter what you're skewering, you still have to make it look good and make it funny.
Well, also, like, I don't think he wanted to. I don't think Mel Brooks... I agree with you, Andy. I'm not saying, like, that the movie's good. What I'm saying is Mel Brooks did it on purpose. He did everything he did on purpose. He was like...
he didn't have, like, a coked out couple of years where he was just like, whatever, in the 80s?
He just did not... He knew that people would pay to see Spaceballs in whatever condition it arrived in. So he was like, I'm going to put funny people in here. We're going to make jokes about this big budget movie that means nothing to me personally, other than that made this huge cash injection and let people make other projects. From his perspective, that's what Star Wars was. He was an old man.
I'm not sure that's an artistic choice, though.
It's not. It's not.
I'm just going to make a throwaway movie.
It is, but for him, he has...
How do you know this?
I know a lot of... I've read a ton about Mel Brooks. I can tell you that Mel Brooks' perspective on these things is it's a good time and it pays for my grandkids' college. And that is his art, is he feels good making these movies for himself. And it was good enough for Mel Brooks. It's a piece of shit movie, though, really, as a standalone. If you didn't know who Mel Brooks was, if you take the creator out of context, the movie's just shit.
And that's
I would say if you put the creator in it, it's worse. Honestly, I would probably call this a knockoff Mel Brooks movie if I didn't know it was Mel Brooks.
It's so funny the difference in a week. We were a lot more like happy about the movie, but I'm mad at it more too.
Yeah,
I'm not even mad at it. It's like I said, I still have a lot of affection for it. I even have affection for the way it looks, but I think that's all it is. I don't think I like the movie. Like, I don't think
you love it. You're just not in love with it.
And it doesn't really, like, the laughs aren't real. Like, it didn't actually surprise a laugh out of me. It's just like, oh my God, that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
like,
I felt like I was laughing at the movie more than laughing with it.
Yeah.
A little hacky, but is it the...
No, like, I was entertained.
Where hack
That's
starts.
all that matters, I guess.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a fine little watch.
It's the movie's just there for me.
Do you feel like it's aimed
it's
at...
very much it's very much just there.
Wasn't
oh my
it,
God, what if this is Trevor's like favorite movie?
No.
Like him and his dad would watch this and it was like the way that they
that could be
learned
totally
to love each
100%
other.
true, Amy.
I'm so sorry.
So that's...
Well, I would say if that's one of your movies, I would not suggest that you choose that as the movie to give to us ever. If
That's a good point,
special
Kelley.
to you, please don't give it to us.
Or as long as you can take a critical undressing of the movie, if you want to see the movie's
not
titties.
movie critics.
This movie, what was it you were just saying? Andy just said something that really made sense to me.
I just said I'm just judging on what I see on the screen.
Target audience. Sorry.
I don't know all the stuff about Mel Brooks, and maybe if I did, this movie would have a deeper meaning or resonance with me.
It's for two people is what I was trying to glean from what you and Kelley just said. This audience is for Mel Brooks and 13-year-old boys.
And fans of Mel Brooks.
And anybody outside of that. I'm a fan of Mel Brooks and I don't really love this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Dracula Dead and Loving It more than I like this movie.
It's like, I appreciate you making apologists for the movie, but
it's not apology. It's we're analyzing it, Andy. I'm not defending. I'm not on. This isn't a court.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
you talk
looking
so
at it.
loud so much.
I just get irritated with people misunderstanding what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to tell you.
It's your delivery. The same
Well, let me
Mr.
change my
Intense
delivery.
Man. Please talk about a fart joke.
Forget it. I'm done.
So anyway,
I'm done. Maybe I can talk to someone off the air if someone wants to call me. I'll post my number on Craigslist.
Listener,
under
I don't want you to think that he's
Spaceballs conversation without strings attached.
He is not being abused in any way. He is abusing us. And you know it. So don't contact your local Department of Freddy Emotional Services.
Like I said last week, I enjoyed the dumb stuff more than the actual stuff that they're skewering about the industry and sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I think there were a few moments, and first of all, again, the trailer is just them listing the characters in the movie. It's not much of a trailer, even for the time. But like one of the moments I thought was genuinely funny was when Dark Helmet gets his head, like he gets hit in the head, and he's like, "You guys want to take a 5-minute break?" Now that to me,
that was all Rick Moranis.
For me, that's more Rick Moranis than the
exactly. That was
Genius.
like a good. There are like moments. I felt like there were like moments throughout where you can see even Daphne Zuniga had a few good comedic moments, but not rough. Overall. But she did though. That was there were like these moments where I was like, oh, I'm kind of impressed because mostly she's just a non-entity in this movie, not just the character, not Daphne Zuniga, but the character is just written mostly as a non-entity. But she actually, I feel like, rises above it in a few places, more so really than Bill Pullman. Just kind of like, I'm cute. That's
the movie best succeeds when the dumb jokes, like when they're combing the sands and you see a giant comb.
Yeah, I love that.
And you see Tuvok.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
Tuvok
Tim
from Voyager.
Russ.
Yeah,
Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah. And he looks exactly the same as he did 20 years later or whatever.
And he still ain't found shit.
Still ain't found shit.
Yeah. What's funny to me is actually I really feel like John Candy is humongously underused and is very sedate. Like it's very, again, and I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying it's the performance, but
he's wrong character for him, and he should have been Bill Pullman's character.
He should have been Bill Pullman's character. That would have been a much more interesting take. And it really feels like like everything that Barf does, that's your 13-year-old boy, right? Part right there.
You're wasting John Candy.
That's the garbage pail kids generation. Like that's what Mel Brooks is trying to nod to. And I feel like all of this potential in that character is just like, it's just to make jokes that he doesn't even like. I don't feel like at that point Mel Brooks could make gross 80s jokes or the kind of jokes that you want for that character. Because I think he wasn't in touch enough with that. And I think he was trying to be,
that's why he called him Barf, you mean?
Yeah, that's part of it, I think. Yeah. I think he thought that was like really fun. It's too exactly. And I think he thought, oh, the kids will love this. He's called Barf. And it's like, oh, you're missing the point, I think, because you don't exactly get it.
He's talking down to the 13-year-old boys.
Is it because he thought the word Chewbacca sounded like vomit?
It could be, or I think you're giving way too much credit, which I appreciate that you do, but I think you're giving way too much credit. And I think it's just because barf is a funny word.
He's a dog and dogs bark and barf sounds like bark. Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe because dogs barf.
Oh my God. Elsa fucking twice this week barfed in our bed, causing me to have to strip everything and wash everything.
Twice.
I think it's just as simple as in 87, barf was one of those funny words that everybody was using.
We were just talking about it earlier. We were talking about you can't do that on television.
Do you think Elsa and I just shared a norovirus?
Maybe.
Can we do that? Doesn't matter. Go on.
My field of training is in finance.
It is not.
And I do. I think it was just as simple as it is a name you can give a dog character. It's like doggy enough, but it also is barf. And that's a funny word they're putting in like garbage pail kids, which was a huge thing at the time. And I think it was as simple as that. I don't think another moment of thought went into why they called it barf. They probably came up with that name on the day. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're probably like dog character in the script. I don't know.
There's a joke on Seinfeld where Banya, the failed comedian.
Wait, you distorted there. Who?
Banya from Seinfeld.
Banya? Oh, okay. I forgot the character's name.
That failed comedian. It says, "Hey, puke. That's a funny word. You mind if I use it?"
You mind if I use it?
Yeah.
That's what makes that brilliant.
That's probably Kelly's right. It's just a funny word and to attach to a
Malik Yogurt
character. Yeah. Ugh.
Lord Helmet. I mean, like, there are no names in this where you're like, well, he nailed it on that one.
No, I didn't say because of the pun. Like, just watching the trailer and looking at Mel Brooks as the little gold Yoda character, it just looks so gross.
He has a name, Andy.
Does. Although, again, that one of the moments I chuckled was when he says, I'm just playing yogurt.
I'm just playing yogurt.
I love that joke.
That part does make me chuckle.
It's because he's good at delivering his own writing.
Yeah.
People that are dwarf on golf.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks says yogurt. He's dwarfing around.
He is dwarfing.
I
he
think,
didn't even try with his name. President Scroob.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
President
joke was
Scroob.
that it's Brooks backward.
It's Brooks Wow, this is a lazy movie.
It's not even. It's like he was doing like a half-ass.
You know what? Think about for a minute.
From Blazing Saddles, he's half-assed doing that character.
Think about this for think about this for a minute though. What the resource that every sci-fi movie has the unobtainium equivalent, and this is just air, just fresh air. There's not enough fresh air in my life. That's the thing I'm going to fight. I'm going to go to war over fresh air.
What's funny is I didn't have a problem with that. That to me was like funny. I like.
But my point, it's execution. Like, these are things. Had Mel Brooks played everyone in the movie, it would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that might be
Mel Brooks and Rick Moranis remake Spaceballs together.
Did you just say Mel Brooks?
What did I say?
Mel Brooks.
That's where
I said Mel Brooks.
No, you didn't.
I might have.
Did you guys hear Mel Brooks?
Tongue-tied.
You dropped the S on that one. I also caught that.
Don't pick up the S.
Spaceballs.
What was it you hated in the last topic, Hannah? Kelly, what was the thing about people correcting other people's grammar publicly?
Yeah, but it's funny because you said Mel Brooks.
She did it. She did it. What was the punishment? What was the Kelly? What was the punishment when someone corrects somebody?
I have to take a test.
Well, if this was in that world and I were to call the police third party, Amy would be then administered a very difficult test on like name pronunciations. Yeah. God knows what would be on it.
Oh no!
And if she didn't receive 100, she could then be fined.
Okay, so
some nominal amount. Probably
don't give it all away.
$120.
Don't give it all away, Kelly.
It's fine.
Somebody might want to. We could give you can get that whole sweet top a can of juice on Patreon.
I did not mention the amount the fine would be. That is a part. This is like a completist would have to listen to that and this
and
to have the full picture, like to make our Wikipedia properly and to have to make all the connections that will be made in the biography of this show.
So that's patreon.com/NOTLP, where you will get the Topicana episode and all manner of other things that isn't free on the thing. And it is maybe possible that Elsa gave me something. It's probably not.
She shared a toilet seat.
Did you make out with your dog, Amy? You can tell us. It's okay.
She makes out with me.
I was snuggling with that girl earlier.
She likes to lick my lips. What can I say?
Did you lick her butthole? It's okay to tell us.
I have never once licked her butthole.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. People are different.
No, why would you think that we did that?
That's how viruses are passed on.
Well, he wasn't sure. That's why he asked.
We lick buttholes?
He's got to ask.
I'm just asking questions, Fred.
I mean,
you want to lick my butthole? I have a butthole. You can lick mine.
So that concludes Spopera month.
Yeah, Spopera month is officially done, God willing, and that this episode is all there.
Spuma.
Indeed. I'm not doing it a third time. Sorry, Trevor.
No, yeah. So hopefully.
So we're moving on to March. Comes in like a lion.
Goes out like
and then
a
it
lamb.
does a real sexy little dance in the little skirt, and it makes you feel like you can win the game.
Do you feel like someone would challenge you?
We're doing them, guys. We're doing cheerleaders. Movies with cheerleaders.
Very exciting.
Because it's like National Cheerleader
Safety Month. So we're going to put them in peril.
We want everyone to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be cheerleaders in peril?
So
this is to point out the many perils of cheerleading, not just athletically, but also murderifically,
psychologically,
PTSD.
Yeah.
So that will be so much fun for everyone.
Everyone, Amy.
So at the end of every show, I hate you so much. Please know every time I say I hate him, it means I love him. They're really the same emotion.
Yeah.
I don't like that though.
You don't like what?
Because if I say I hate Donald Trump, I'm now saying I love him.
We'll workshop.
We'll workshop
what you said.
Okay, we'll clarify and get it to something that makes sense.
We'll have a meeting. We'll come back to it. We'll bring some brainstorm. We'll do a word cloud.
Word cloud, yes.
We could start another actually outside of Topicana just called Ranties. And it could be just an episode of Rants.
That's
lo-fi crappy hour.
Lo-fi crappy hour. It's Ranties. It's grinding your gears. It's that sort of thing.
Don't get your Ranties in a bunch.
Yeah, Ranties in a bunch. Yeah. What would you say, Andy?
He said it's a ranty dropper.
Ranty dropper. That would be our sexy song.
Joke playing.
At the end of every show, we always say hi to our Beelzebubs. Again, that's patreon.com/NOTLP. I'm gonna just say them all. Here I go.
All
Alise.
I'll see you in a minute, baby.
Ernest. Mark
Sometime.
Watts.
Maybe.
Bill Varner.
Hope so. Hope to.
Balake. Blake.
Also would love to.
Jeremy, Cassie, and Gamora.
Have, but want to again.
Jeffel.
Would consider it.
Iona Goodwin.
No, I'm just kidding. And I own
a great one.
Something.
Branan and Emily.
I want to see all of you. I'll just say that so I can stop doing that.
I have to extricate myself, but first I have to say this.
I'm so tired.
It's like that scene in Executive Decision when spoiler alert.
Your name, Joe.
Joe, sorry, but you remember when Steven Seagal is refueling the plane in Executive Decision, and there's the little connector. They have the little tube. Have you guys all seen this movie?
Yes.
No, I have not.
Okay, so this is a spoiler. I apologize, but
don't worry, it's okay. It's never going to happen.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's Kurt Russell, and Kurt Russell is like he's the hero of it, but Steven Seagal is like they're like you can't make it. The planes are going to be torn apart. We're not going to make it. And Steven Seagal just looks up and goes, you are. And he just pulls the door closed and then it gets torn off the tube between the two jets. He gets torn away with that. It was like what you just did.
I lost
if you roll the tape back, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
What was happening? Billy Boy Chandler.
Kelley was extricating himself. He got sucked out of the airplane refueling tube.
Blayne.
Is what I'm saying.
Blaze.
To Blaze. That would be in the Mel Brooks School of Comedy.
Yeah.
Billy
Monica. Alyssa. Girl, you went to a Claire's. I haven't been in a Claire's in a decade. I kind of want to go to one.
Will you pierce my child's fingers?
Paul.
What's up, Paul? Paul gets me. I feel like I can say crazy shit
you know
and he
what?
can decode it.
You guys can't hang out, though, because you'll make each other insane.
We will.
Dr. Brian, you may need to intervene.
Yeah.
Dave Siebert. Isn't that how you always say it?
Yeah.
I'm trying, Dave.
You did it.
Carla. Oh, I thought you guys would do something.
No,
I was waiting for you.
I wasn't doing anything anymore.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I have to save myself for my special.
Okay. All right, let's just keep
special
going.
one at the end.
Yeah, Kelley got sucked away with the other plane.
So sorry, Carla. Dustin.
And Ace.
And all of your animals. I'm so sorry.
Ace writes Dustin a check every month.
Ace is the place. And Lynn Walsh.
I come from a Lynn down under.
And that
I had to save up. I couldn't get too tired to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It requires a lot.
I hate when I'm too tired to do it.
Oh.
So.
Almost never happens.
Oh, my God.
What am I going to do with this man? I have to live with him full time. You guys don't understand. You only had to listen to us for an hour and 10 minutes.
I save it all for this.
You got to take him out for a walk, Amy. It'll tire him out.
You know what she'll do to me later? She'll be like, why are you so quiet? And I'll be like, because I said everything earlier on the show.
Lord.
Amy, you just can't win, right?
I can't.
She'll find a way to make it. I'm one way or the other. I'm never that happy medium.
Oh my God, white people.
I'm not a medium place.
All right. I love all of you so much.
This is my favorite
Love
sitcom.
you too. I'm glad you're feeling some better.
Thank you, darling.
Love you guys.
And that is all. Have a lovely week.
Goodbye, patrons. Love you as well. And also listeners who aren't.
And the Ukrainian people.
And
we love you.
And everybody. Why not? Except for the shitheads. Fuck those shitheads.
Frankenstein was wondering if he